Okay, I know.
It's okay.
Oh, I need to do this damn book.
You say you need to do it?
Yeah, cause really, it's like a journal with these prompts.
Would you guys like blueberry Stella
Ooh,
or
this was good. I want the blueberry
red
girl.
Well, she would have got that liquor. She would have got it today. It's the black bag.
it wasn't from today,
Oh,
but
yesterday.
Who told you to try this?
oh, I already like it. I
was like,
this blueberry and the grapefruit are my favorites.
Damn, was that the only one I had? I think I need to. Let me just smoke now. Just smoke live too. Don't stress yourself.
there you go, boo. Now
It's
you're
a
getting
light
into
right
it.
there
Let it
on
go.
the table.
Let
I
it
got one
go.
in my pocket. Thank you.
This one you and Leela sipping on right now at the moment. Just
Are these pockets or do I need to just fold it?
What you talking about?
The pita.
no, that's the nine.
Oh. The pita, no, the pita is the big circle one. You need to cut it. The same thing we had last week. That's the nine. This one is the pita.
Oh, they got the pockets.
It do. I didn't cut it. I forgot to cut it.
Oh, okay. Cut it in half.
Oh,
pockets.
yeah.
So let's get it back.
I do believe you got it. You got all this.
Cut them.
There it
Cut
is.
them in half.
Yes, ma'am.
How deep you finna go into the book today? How you finna goddamn give it to us?
You know, I don't
Letting
know.
the spirit lead today.
Yeah, Jay. You done made me start dancing.
What?
Are you dancing, DG? By the
Dancing,
book?
girl.
Ooh.
Let it go. What's the I guess the topic of discussion today?
So really, what it feels like is how we handle conflict.
Yeah.
And then maybe separation and loss.
Want the renewals in there?
And renewals.
The same thing.
No. I was just talking about that sauce right there.
The aioli.
Lemonade.
The
It's a lemon
aioli.
aioli.
Yes, girl. You cook this up.
Go ahead, DG. I see you over there. Oh, you
I'm
just
not-
waiting.
I'm just waiting. I'm just trying to see how she do it before I do it.
Well, you did it with us last
No,
time.
I ain't do that. I ain't get that sauce last time. See,
That sauce wasn't there
You
last
see
time.
that what I'm saying? I knew something different there. I'm like that sauce.
It was just mixed into the chickpea.
But we had one on the side.
Little bit.
remember?
It
It
was
was a
just a
little
little
one.
bit.
Yeah, you must ain't get none of that.
Nah.
Oh, you didn't? No.
No.
Mm.
Do it.
You made it sound like you was in on the best kept secret.
You ain't get
Oh,
none of
yeah.
that.
Oh, okay.
You ain't get none of that.
Your loss, baby. Your loss. A little one on the side for the VIP.
Not okay.
Not okay. Cosign. Cosign.
Okay with you. Okay.
Cause it was good.
Yeah, you know that.
Who called me?
One of them cool things right there, like you slick amazing.
Hello.
Yeah.
What's look amazing?
This little sample, this little Peter Pocket.
Oh, the little Peter Pocket.
This little Peter Pocket.
Okay.
Yeah.
Little chip Peter Pocket.
The my sauce all on.
Thank you, Julian.
Thank you for
Which one? Yeah. Girl, yeah, it was me. No, yeah, that wasn't me.
Did you have some RSVPs?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
No
I
problem.
didn't do shit.
Bye-bye.
Kendra sent out the, I don't know, she just posted a picture of the invitation in the group. I know Shantae and Bunky not coming. Shantae at work.
So I'm like, yeah, we posted it. We talked about it. The other group know about it.
And that's it. That's that.
Okay.
It's good, ain't it, girl?
10, 10, 20, 20, baby.
Mhm.
I done bet my whole lip.
No, you didn't, girl. No, you didn't.
Not that you done bit your own lip, Khalila.
Girl.
She having the experience we had.
Oh,
Remember
my.
when she made this last book club? Girl. It was, we was fucking it
Oh,
up.
she wasn't here.
No, you were.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, that was our exact responses. It was like,
Mm-hmm.
woo, ooh, that thing good.
Mm-hmm. It's the compliment of the kale. With that lemon aioli.
Oh, you got some of these little orange mangoes in here, don't you?
Somewhat?
Some little mangoes in here.
You had some dried Oh, not in the food.
Not in the,
Oh, yeah, look.
Oh, that's peppers.
that's peppers. I'm glad y'all enjoying it.
I'm about to fix it.
Whew. Ooh.
Ooh. You want to pass it. So you don't go ooh, ooh.
Okay, it's like, who knew? I mean, everybody knows. Hey, Papa.
do, you know how you do the intro and everything like that. After you do the intro and all that, and when the time to ask the questions, you can probably break them down. What y'all be doing today?
Oh well, what is that? No, not Saturday. Really, the things that have come to me via the divine is it's a chapter on conflict. That chapter, reconciliation. What else? I just had it. Renewal and separation.
Where you can discuss that with that guy. Hopefully. No.
Where he at? Y'all ain't come together?
Nah, we didn't.
What?
He'll be like right behind me.
You know, we gotta.
I'm not gonna sleep on it, baby. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make sure.
You're right about that. Let me go get it.
You know, I came on time to the meeting, so I'm make sure I go ahead and get that in real quick.
Oh, you didn't put out
The 9.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I learned this time.
You put 9
The
out?
1 9. One of these.
one of the 9 is already done.
No, we didn't put one out.
They got 1 out right here.
Oh, that's
see,
where
okay, see,
we had the intention.
Yeah, but I ain't a rapper girl. My bad. I took it out. Took it out.
Yeah, you gotta do 1 9, 1 Peter. And really, I'm thinking if you put some, I do have the guac. If you put some guac on that thing too.
How you gonna fuck the game
Well,
up
hand
like
me
that?
hand me a 9.
Well, how you gonna fuck
Please,
the game
get
up
you
like
up them,
that?
Leela.
I'm
Bring
finna
me
get
one,
some chips and some guac.
Do I need to cut the 9 too?
No,
You
you just put it on top like a chalupa.
Yeah, I ain't go that chalupa theory again. Like
Put it on top.
Oh, yeah.
that shit, but
Fold it, right.
yeah, go ahead and put it on the
Thank you, ma'am.
It becomes a chalupa.
Let me get none of that.
I like how you pick the selection before you make your decision.
It's like a chalupa. What's that right there? That's 9 too.
Oh, let me get a sprinkle of them chips, DG. I've been asleep over here.
This is the
I
lemon.
thought you was gonna sprinkle for me.
Got
You see, I got a lot going on.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that shit look good. Your shit packed nice right now.
You know, I took a note from you. I seen yours. I was like, I ain't do it right.
I thought I got that from you.
No, my first one wasn't like this.
Oh.
The first one was a sampler.
Well, yeah. You gave me inspiration. Then. How about that? Like I got it. I'm like, oh, stuff it like that.
Oh, these chips smell good.
I feel like I'm high. Okay. All the experiences you have, and I'm like, you over there high.
I'm not. I haven't moved smoke.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I did.
You did say the blunt.
I normally wake up and smoke, so that I'm like, yeah, I smoked the blunt today. I did hit some trees. But, okay. Are these sweet potato chips?
They good.
Oh my god.
What's the sweet potato chips?
They hot.
On the
The one you gave me.
Oh, these the ones from last time? Yes. I'm so happy. I thought I missed them.
No.
Because last week I was like, damn, I didn't even get to try the Terra chips.
They good.
The screaming.
Terra. Hold on, time what? This Terra chip.
That's, oh, let me see. Can we get a plug? You got us rolling.
Yeah, bro.
Terra. They make vegetable chips.
Yeah, that's dope. I'm up here with the water. You got what?
Yeah.
But if you dip the chip
With the
into the chickpeas,
yeah, that's why I got it too. Cause I'm like, cause really the chickpeas is like a dip, or you can make it like tuna fish. You know what I'm saying? Like a sandwich.
Or chalupa.
Or a chalupa. A pita sandwich. We got options. Tried to get everybody in there. One go round. Yes. And I just wanted to taste it too. I'm so happy it's still here. Okay. Let's get my life together because really we need to start a discussion.
You fix your plate?
I got me a plate. But you know, I don't really be getting to eat.
I know. We're going to ask you to go plate.
Oh, you're right. It is.
Grab me some mango.
It be a spread.
They do. A good one. What's your name? This is the mango chips. This is good.
I'm like, this is the most adult light refreshment I've ever seen.
That's what we got.
This not a
What that? Like the salad.
The spread. You know what I'm saying? On the invite, it say light refreshment.
Mm-hmm.
that was the first one. The first one it was like refreshment, but then I was like, after I spent so much fucking money on snacks, I'm like, I can probably just
Make meals.
make a meal.
Yeah. Feed the masses.
What else? Oh, I don't even got no damn chickpeas on here, girl. What the fuck you doing?
You can get you some aioli.
Got your pita and your naan.
I got my pita and my naan. I got my pita and my nugget. My pita, my pita and my naan.
It's on.
It's
Tell them that it's on.
You better go, girl.
Yeah, I do. You
Ooh, ooh,
get it too.
There you go.
Like too much.
I need to save myself.
Y'all gotta put that sage on.
Long way from that west side. Long way.
Ooh.
I just wanna make love.
Okay, the most important part, baby.
Just wanna make. I just wanna stay free, yeah.
I sure hope it doesn't. I don't feel like it's gonna be no leftovers again.
No, not when you make green.
I added
I just wanna
2 more
make
cans.
peace. I just wanna stay free.
Really?
Yeah.
It wasn't enough.
Stay
I
free.
see.
I just wanna make love.
Remember last time we talked, I said you just need to make up for what you did last time.
Girl, that's a lie.
Stay free, yeah.
I didn't think, you know what I'm saying?
Stay free, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I'm from a city where it's really hard.
If you tell me it's
From the
good.
projects,
Yeah.
from the God.
You have to think about us who had it before. You knew we was gonna be greedy. And then the people who don't know about it.
They gonna be even more good.
Mama so cracked. Ain't even bragging.
That felt like a
Whole
personal
life been
attack.
drama.
No, we just understand.
Childhood trauma. Whole life been a puzzle.
Because last time I was like, God damn, wait a minute, let me get a
All the
plate.
time I was from my mama's side. Gunshots in my bedroom. Still got me
I do, now we gotta give it a little minute.
so happy I'm
Everybody got
alive.
plates and stuff.
What?
I'm an angel
What's
in
wrong with you?
disguise. I'm divine.
Why are you texting back right now? You're sitting next to me. You are sitting next to me. He just text me. He just text me. I'm right
Hey, he's
here.
so annoying.
I'm right.
Hey, he's so annoying when
There's
he's
no
doing that
way.
shit.
Ain't no way.
Look at him dying. Like,
Yes.
he do it on purpose.
Stay free.
He get you
Girl.
offended.
Very much so. Right, he'll turn his head to the right to text instead of picking up his name. I'm here now. You know. Seriously.
Crazy. He crazy.
Girl.
That's what I
That
was
was new for
saying.
me.
He crazy.
What I was saying earlier.
DG, you got your thing for the altar. I don't know if you gonna do an offering or you gonna put one of your like a charm. What we call it? A charm or some stones or something, so you can take the energy with you when you leave and infuse it into you. Okay.
I got what about my Apple Watch? It's not good.
I mean,
Nothing. Always gotta be something
well,
sacred.
yeah, something
I ain't
special
got
to
nothing
you.
sacred here. You know.
What a teddy bear at? Ain't it a teddy
Oh, you
bear?
talking about? Oh yeah, hey, yeah.
Burn the teddy bear.
You ain't talking about teddy bear. You talking about Primo?
What is it?
It's about Primo.
Yeah, the dog. Primo. He go up there.
Come up there.
The boss dog.
The dog put him on the top.
Come up there.
Yeah. Hold on. Put that right. He need to lean up on it. Okay.
That long, I be alright.
Still with us.
Especially with that sauce. Last time I ain't put that sauce on.
Oh, for real?
I told you we ain't had that sauce.
I already told you about that sauce now.
That sauce is busting, man. I'm like, damn. You know, I wish
Pick
I
it up a
would've-
notch.
I was about that last time. How did I not know?
That's crazy.
Like I just want it as like
With
a
that sauce, it's
salad
like a whole
dressing,
Love the flavor, right?
a marinade.
Like it was
A
good last
topping.
time. This time,
We got that extra kick too.
Yeah, cause that's what the
You got that bit that chalupa style too.
And then you gotta sprinkle the chips over it, crunch them up.
that what you did to give it that idea?
And she did it. She did it like she's sprinkling weed.
Put some things up.
That's how you do
we
it.
break it down over top the chalupa.
See,
I get this, bro.
for a little texture, a little crunch on that thing, you know.
And then you gotta crunch it to it.
Ooh, this salad bar.
Oh yeah, I was gonna tell you some of that kale salad. Bustin'.
I can't believe the salad almost gone.
It's such a masterpiece.
Oh my God. You done went up in there like that.
The double crunch.
Boy! For sure.
That is the double crunch chalupa.
There it is.
Wow. You guys are so creative.
Okay.
Shit. Killing them when the goddamn gay nigga out do.
Look at how beautiful that is, how everybody was just building upon the next. I'm like, okay, I'll bring salad, bread, and turn it to a chalupa. Crunchy chalupa. Crunchy chalupa supreme.
With that guac all on it.
Oh, with the guac. I'm good on the wine.
I'm so glad you just still eating.
I know.
Yeah, I love the roll. Some weed and the mango.
How will it burn? The skin?
burn.
What you talking about?
We have mango. You know the skin of the mango skin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, clean it out. Put your weed in there. Roll it, it gonna stick.
Mm-mm.
Then you gonna smoke mango weed.
No. I couldn't imagine that working.
Why not?
How about niggas doing that shit with onion skin?
With onion skin? Yeah. That's how they said Dr. Sabi and T-Boz was smoking their weed. Well, that's what Instagram said. Mm-hmm.
Cause you're like paper, huh?
Yeah, that's what Instagram said.
Yeah, I was lying about the mango.
I know you was. I'm like, it don't make sense.
That shit won't even spark with it.
Somebody gonna be
Too wet.
In
right.
my mind, it's kinda good.
Hmm.
You know how you wet
You have to do a lot of processing for that to work.
Like dry it out.
I was gonna say dry it out.
And like, I don't know how they
Thin
do
it out.
Thin, super thin.
Cause that mango skin thick.
It's real thick.
You have a slow roll blunt. Slow burn.
If you can get
If you
it
can
to
get
do
it to
that.
burn.
If you can get it to do that. Papa, how you feel about that Chalupa Supreme?
Man, what? Put this shit in the goddamn dry food.
Put it on the dry food.
These mangoes be so damn good.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
You know how when you eat and then you be so in the zone that you eat and that you forget you're around people?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That what that chalupa did to me.
Oh wow.
Took you to another place.
It was in the zone.
I was. It was just me.
It was just you and that chalupa?
Yeah.
What?
Mm-hmm.
God, good time.
With the music in the background.
Okay.
It was like a date.
Okay.
Very intimate
Like
space.
mangoes like they good.
In real life? You crazy.
They was good right here.
That's what all mangoes taste like to me.
Me
Me
too.
too.
Well, not all mangoes. Sometimes them bitches don't be ripe enough.
Don't be sweet.
This shit is that. This shit got everything in it.
What?
Everything the right one got. Though this is the dry.
Mm. Got good
All the flavor.
texture.
Yeah, it takes all the flavor.
Mm. Let me see what Ultra at.
You said it was on here.
Okay, so we're gonna start without everybody's feeling like they really into their plate. Okay. I think this is why I be waiting to eat. I'm so distracted.
That would be happening behind me.
It is. I feel her.
Your ingredients be so perfect, girl.
Thank you. I did do some extra this time.
Mm-hmm.
Our flight changed. It's earlier now.
Really?
Our Puerto Rico flight back.
What
It's
time?
earlier. Instead of 3:25, it's gonna be at 2:45.
Mm. Well, that just means. Oh. Okay. Oh. I just got me a bite with some good cranberry in it.
Thank you.
Wonderful. I'm glad you guys still enjoy it. What's that?
That was that the blueberry stuff.
Is that what this is?
That was
This mine?
Thank you.
That's what you was straight.
The blueberry is one of my favorites. That and the grapefruit. Good Kool-Aid.
Adult Kool-Aid. Why?
Let's talk about the mangoes. I'm like, I got them too. I eat them yet. Look at
Like, this is like the perfect meal. Like, still feeling the light.
girl, like her pita is lit.
And it was really more lit. I had put some on my chalupa.
Oh, you took it out of your pita and onto the chalupa?
I didn't want to go back to the table.
Oh, that mean that thing was popping. Is that a tear to your eye? Is that good? No.
That was actually really like joy from when I was
Look,
little. Which is nice. It feels like a nice taste.
He said weed.
Oh,
I want my blood fat.
You just made the decision for you. Alright, that's what you
You
do.
know, he be like, taking the weed and like, let me put a little more weed off. That was that one little last drop. That one.
That's your job. Okay, thank you then. Yes, I shouldn't complain.
The voted mayor.
Okay. 1:30.
Let's get it started. Damn, thank you so much. But I ain't gonna ruin this for you. Oh, I get to see it. I ain't see it when I was gonna do it.
What is that? I just want to touch them.
And that track on the track right there.
Okay.
Right? Well, I thought it was a
But
track.
it is a trash bag.
Track in the front though.
That's why we take it out too. We clean up
Oh, I feel full, but I don't think I should be full.
I mean, the thing about it, this fill you up real quick, but then it go through with your system quicker too. So you won't be hungry again soon. Even though your body's still using the energy. Toot the tail.
It was looking crazy the other day. It was just sticking
Hello?
out. I think like when it be time for me to get like a reflex twist or like a tighten up, the root be real,
Yeah. Throw it
and
up
then
on
make
there.
it like stand up as opposed to lay down. So it's kind of looking like erect or something. I have a problem. It's a real problem. So
It's like a deer tail instead of a
It
rat
does.
tail.
it ain't
It's
blueberry.
cold. Yeah, I'm like, how's it cold? What?
It was in my car.
You just buy it?
But you know, it was like 40, 50 degrees today. I mean, last night. It just started warming up. It's still pretty like.
I'm like, this is kind of look cold.
I mean, it was cold. It was cold last night, and it really just started warming up. It's still kind of nippy out here.
It is.
That's why I had it ready and hoodie.
Well, hello.
Yeah, I got it.
Mine too.
Sasha said, "Hey."
Oh.
Anyway,
Okay. Everybody's good now, I think.
Yep.
This man GG.
He sleep. Now he sleep. Did you participating in the book club? You was participating.
Stay here, what, cuz?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
you got some more trick.
That was for me.
That was an open question for anyone.
What happened?
You got some more trick.
Not wrong. Oh, I got this little bit right here.
Have a little lighter with it so we can start,
Yep.
what you call it, in here. Pass this that way.
I don't have a
Pass that.
We got. I think Quill got some papers.
You gonna take that one right
I
now.
don't really know.
There you go. Lilo, pass that to you.
Oh, this is my lighter. Did I have this over here?
I think you pulled it out your pocket.
Okay.
You're not making it wrong with this ain't what is it? Low.
Appreciate it.
DG, you still got my green light.
I don't know, 'cause I don't see nothing but red.
So that's what you gonna do?
I don't know where it's at. I be losing lights.
Stealing them and losing?
I don't even be stealing. They just be getting lost.
It's right there on the couch next to you.
Oh, there you go. See?
Thank you, sis.
I'm just being helpful.
I did not try to steal your life. I did not want your life.
Yes, you did.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, twin.
We doing another book club meeting. Thank y'all for tuning in. If y'all online, I know this not our usual time, but we got some things going, some celebrations to be had. So I appreciate y'all flexibility.
Hey, Uncle
Took it
Chuck.
right on time.
Right on
Right on
time.
time.
How's everybody doing?
Just open it up.
Tell them it's your birthday, whatever time you come in.
They
It's
said tell them it's my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
It's Ocean's birthday.
It's my birthday.
A reason for celebration.
Yes.
The birth of Ocha.
It's crazy. It's my birthday.
A blessing.
Just not hitting me up.
I had to come.
Did we start a new podcast or something?
I ain't gonna be rude, thank you.
Then we start a new
I
podcast.
know you look like you just gonna sit there. I'm sorry.
Oh, ancestor.
Oh, ancestor.
Look at that.
You. There you go.
Who birthday is it?
Oh, goodness. Laugh that out, girl. Hey, love.
Hey, love. How you doing, baby girl? I'm good.
A blessing. A blessing.
Just feeling relaxed.
Hey,
right there.
Uh-oh. Wait a minute. It's under the chair.
What happened, girl? You trying to pass?
I got
Don't
it.
get caught up under there, girl.
Oh, man. I needed it.
Oh my God. This is wonderful.
So wondrous.
Oh, goodness.
With your twist.
Appreciate it.
Hello, beautiful.
How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for the urgent.
I thank you.
No problem. I've only been here 3 times.
Right? Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. Hey.
How you doing, baby?
I'm good, baby. Good. Baby, good, baby, good.
Okay, so I think that was last week we started this with the
And just got lit up in here.
stating our intentions and smudging ourselves as we go around the circle. And then we'll get started. I'm Twill.
Hey, Twill.
Ochoale. One we know to have. My intention today is to build a very solid foundation of community and to allow Spirit to use us in this place when it comes to like prayer, right? 2 or more being gathered for a common cause. And to build a stronger connection as for prayer and manifesting and growing and learning. Whew, that's my intentions.
Hey, y'all. Hey. I'm Kalila. Killer. Lilo. All of those. My intentions for today are to be open and to be receptive, to allow Spirit to move through me and to use me to learn and to grow and to strengthen my connection with Spirit and with my ancestors and with community. With that, I feel complete.
Hello. I'm Boo. Old Boo. Also known as June Papa. June Pa. My intentions here today is to be a beacon, like to allow pure positive energy to be grounded through me and to be shared amongst each and every single last one of us, to be a beacon of light to help shine maybe clarity on certain situations, and just to be here to observe, take in, and just to help everything flow in a nice, smooth manner towards a path of growth for each and every single one of us.
Spirit just got crossed up.
That was good. High 5 on the point. Twin, we brought back points.
Okay, wait. We in the midst of.
So, I am Kendra, and my intentions for today is to be a foundation of the community and be open to receive and be open to give, and also just have information flow through me for the greater whole.
It's my time. My name is Ocha. You know, people call me O. And whatever else kind of rendition that they come up with after that. My intentions, I think you guys took all the good ones already. So, just shared intentions. I know, I just, my intentions is to let spirit flow through me. To be in a receptive mode and to share, hopefully, you know what I'm saying, I'm connected and I share, you know, it helps everybody and it helps the masses. And my soul can speak to everybody else's soul, make that connection.
Good evening. My name is Chakalaka, and my intention for this experience is to exchange my time for inspiration and impact. I'm interested in participating in the law of reciprocity, giving and receiving, and I'm delighted to be here.
My name is BG, and I'm next now. My intentions is just pure. You feel me? And that's it. I want to keep it pure. Cool.
Another cross up over here.
You say both.
I said another cross up.
Okay, good. He trying to show me about how to cross that thing over.
Thank you. I don't know. I want to turn it down, but I feel like if I turn it down a little bit, it's off. And that's true. But I like the little background
Me
noise.
too. I'm like, it was there.
Okay. Let me put this in my sheet. Okay, and then we can call the ancestors in, right? Or so who's the elder? Child, you the elder today? Is it okay if we do some libations? You got some water?
It's gonna be your wine. Over your turn. You wanna do shot? Put some wine.
You said yes for libations? Okay, oh, it's gonna be my wine. It's gonna be my wine.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Oh, did you ring the bowl?
Oh,
You can't put a thing other than the water in the bowl. You got more water.
Well, you ain't know we were gonna have no water. So you ain't about
Last time I got the bowl.
You do?
Yeah.
oh, and then does everybody have their something on the altar?
I forgot again. I had a lot going on.
Okay. What's the dog name, DG? Huh? Primo. We got Primo with us today. I don't think we had Primo with us last time.
Uno card.
The Uno
That's a
card.
good one.
That was a good
And what else is that, child?
They there.
Hey, girl.
They there,
Get that
girl.
thing.
Sanctify that thing.
Okay, I go. Yeah.
Babe.
Hey y'all. So now we're gonna do libations. Chalks, the elder, she gave us to go ahead.
Oh.
What?
Do I stand up and say anything?
No.
No.
They got sit already.
Yeah, I asked you if it's okay.
You did good.
And you said yeah. So now we'll keep going. We use both hands to raise our kikombe cha umoja to the creator of all things, great and small, to show our reverence for the original source of our lives. Ashe. We use cool water, which holds the essence of life, to nourish our souls. Ashe. We give thanks to the motherland, Al Kebulan, the cradle of civilization.
Ashe.
Ashe. We call upon our ancestors and their indomitable spirit, for these forebears are foundations of our families. Immortalized in our thoughts, we call them by name. You can say whatever name you want. Sierra Clark, Carlos, Ina, Quincy. Ashe.
That's it.
We call upon our elders, whose wisdom we seek in our endeavors. Ashe. We pour this libation so that we may show our children the importance of family. For he who is not taught by his mother is taught by the world. This is for our youth who represent promise of tomorrow. Ashe. We pour in remembrance of our struggle, and all those who have struggled on our behalf. Ashe. We call upon our family and extended family members who would have been here if they could. We ask that they be with us in our thoughts. Ashe.
That's it.
We cast our libations to the north, south, east, and the west. Ashe, 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 Ashe. Okay. Ashe. So, I feel like this probably may be the last time we do this book. I feel like basically everything's been covered. Oh, actually, you know what? Never mind. Let me not say that. Whatever, we again, however spirit leads us is what we're gonna go through. My rough outline of things today would be the chapters on continuous renewal, conflict as a gift from spirit. What else was it that I wanted to talk about? Oh, loss and divorce, separation. And then I think the only other chapter is the one on homosexuality and the gatekeeper. So maybe we can finish the book today. I'm going to just leave it open. Does anybody have anything from last week or not last week, but the last meeting that you guys thought any more about or wanted to bring up to us now?
Yeah. I remember one of the questions was, what do we do as a community to start to show up for one another? Like, what does that look like? So to bring that into this meeting is to show what that looks like the answer to what that looks like. And one of the answers we had is by people showing up, by being there. That's how you start to formulate what community looks like. So with us being here, I feel like answered the question from something, we was trying to build upon last time. So to see it here, it's like, oh, yay, pat on the back of us, we did that. So that right there, I wanted to share that with us.
Thank you for sharing that, because you're right. And that was one of the things I know where I get kind of beyond the present moment and trying to figure things out, just because I know I'm sometimes very logical. Is that left brain? And I'm like, okay, where's the system for it? You know what I'm saying? Basically. And you're right, that is us showing up today. I know I've had a tough week. And I was kind of torn about whether or not we should do this meeting today. In some instances, I didn't feel like I would be able to do it, but I'm happy to have had your support. And I really did feel held by my community. So thank you for helping in all the ways that you did. That's the thing that I'm so grateful for and thankful for. I just made that.
Made that word.
Made it up one whole word. But to see it actually manifest, it feels good. Thanks for sharing it. Anybody else? No?
I watched it online.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this was the last meeting where someone made mention of women coming, like there being a physical demonstration that a woman has transitioned from girlhood to womanhood, and that's menstruation.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for men, there's not something physically present.
Mm-hmm.
And I brought this up with a client over the week, and they talked about the men's voice changing as being a way for a physical
to mark as a marker.
As a marker.
Okay.
And I thought that was interesting.
There.
Oh yes, thank you for sharing
Change
it.
like that though.
Whoa. I mean, it did just then.
Whenever I was in puberty, I ain't know.
You didn't know when you were going through puberty? You didn't
No.
feel
Of course, you knew you started getting a little bit of hair down there.
And that too.
That too.
And that too. That's a physical demonstration.
Okay.
Transition. So I
That
just
was a good one though. I ain't think about that. Well, maybe because I didn't experience it like that. Like heavy, you know how some people got that embarrassingly deep voice. Later on, they gonna love it. But goddamn, it be deep at first.
however subtle the experience is, it's obvious for boys to get manhood in that way, and I thought that was really interesting.
It is.
Think about that.
That's a good way. Okay. Thanks for sharing.
And then another point that was raised was around not knowing the purpose for spirit bringing people together. It's like we can make it up in our head, and this is a conversation I was having with Shay. And that's because she's heavily involved in Married at First Sight. She loves that show. And I told her that we actually lived it in real life. Like our parents got married without knowing each other, and we know the impact that has had on our family. But I've also known people, couples who've made it work, mostly Asians, and in that regard, Shayla and I have been highlighting just that unknowing reason for spirit to bring people together.
Hey, twin.
You want to sit right here?
Yeah, that's good.
Let me move mine.
Twin. Such a wonderful.
I hug him for everybody.
It's good. You're here.
And just like not knowing the reason, the purpose, because there's one couple on there and everybody's like mad at them for the producers putting them together. But it was just like in an instance like that when it's just horribly wrong, like just wrong on so many levels, do we then still say there's a reason for them to be together, for spirit to have brought them together? So we didn't have an answer. It was like a rhetorical question. It was a rhetorical question, but we highlighted it, and I saw the relevance with the book as well. So I brought it to Shayla's attention.
I feel like there's always a reason.
Yeah.
Like, just because we don't know, like, all the backstory for each individual's life and what sort of karma that they have, like, built up to experience different people in the ways that they do. And at the given point in their lives as well. I feel like if nothing else, to add to the point of mommy and daddy being together, you know what I'm saying? And it being like, wow, this is like a horrible experience to live through. But like, when it comes to who we are as individuals and how it shapes us and how we also go out into the world, like there's always a reason. I think as humans we want to judge the reason or judge the experience as good or bad, but it's like you are a summation of everything that has happened before you got here and while you are here, adding to your own adding your own experiences. So yeah, I do also think that that's really interesting, and just I guess looking for the lesson in why you are having the certain experiences that you're having.
I brought that up because I just did a speaking engagement on Friday. I was telling Boy and Ultra about it yesterday. I don't think you were there. There are like 500 people on this call. And my topic was the truth about starting over. And then I highlighted 3 tenets as to what starting over really means. And the thing that plagues each and every person when they are approached with the initiation process is why me and what do I do next? And those 2 questions is really what brings a lot of fear into people's heart. It's like you don't really have an answer to it. It's that level of unknown can really shake someone up. But then one of the ladies asked me, she was like, I was just diagnosed with cancer this week. And just the fear and concern and the, inquiring with spirit, like, why me? I was like, oof, that's an opportunity to get really close and intimate with yourself. I told her about intimacy and how that means intimacy. But I really felt for her. I really, really felt for her, because when we hear the word cancer, it automatically has this debilitating resonance to it. It's like it feels finite, it sounds finite for some in the initial phase. So I just bring that up as like real life application to what we're learning through this book club, or what this book has been offering as a resource for our toolkit. Because I can see how it plays out in other aspects of life beyond community.
Yeah.
Not to be silly or anything like that, but when somebody always tell me they got cancer, the first thing that pop in my mind is the zodiac sign. And that's like something that's celestial and heavenly. Like, so that's like the luminaries above. So like when you say you got cancer, I'm like, oh, you got a crab that you're in love with. So it's like, if you could turn cancer from something that's like a zodiac sign to something that's deadly. And when you think about death, it's crazy on so many different levels. But when you realize you was dead longer than you really been alive, because before you came into this existence, you was existing before you actually came into this realm of reality. Well, you don't know how long that was. Everything's like a blink of an eye. But then when you inside this realm, time exists on this reality. But then when you take yourself out of this, and then you realize you're this spirit that's been here since the beginning, and then I don't know, man. It's just like when you ask, this particular thing have a reason to be happening? Like these two entities that came together, and they're a terrible match. Everything that happens between them is just a horrible story that you would never think of even happening. But then when you think about how vast and infinite God and spirit is, there's like, it wants to experience everything imaginable and unimaginable, to where there's no detail that God hasn't experienced, and you're just a piece of God helping him to experience on different levels. So when people say, why me? It's like you're asking yourself, why did God be God? Or why is God being God through me? It's like you're an interpretation of his experience, and to even be able to experience that should be considered a blessing. Even though it may seem and sound and feel horrible at the moment, it's really more of an eye-opening type of catalog for the Lord to be like, I am the creator of all, and it just chalks it up to the vastness of his greatness. But you have free will to choose how you view it and how it affects you, how you let it make you grow closer to him or closer towards ego and material things, which is limiting. So you want to limit yourself to woe is me, or you want to open yourself to, it's a blessing for me to experience this. Now I can use this to help me grow into something stronger. So
yeah, definitely, I feel you on that, and I presented it to her in that way. It's like, that's an opportunity to lean closer into curiosity, and then also, if you do believe in energy, you also recognize the continuum of infinity, and the why me could have a different connotation to it. It's like, of all the experiences to encounter, why this one? Of all of them, like, why this particular way of transitioning, kind of thing. And so I think that level of curiosity can help someone lean into the experience with more grace and reverence, because, like I said, the initial impact is like, dang, like of all of them that experience, this the one you gonna get me? Okay, whew. All right. And then phase 2, you can then start going into the level where you are. But I think not acknowledging the spirit and human combined totality is a disservice. And I call that spiritual bypassing. It's like you want to bypass the fact that I'm actually going through this in this realm and just put me straight into the positive. Well, I need the power to even get there.
Yeah.
I need the power to get there.
Yeah. Because you can't just go from hot to cold.
It ain't happening.
Yeah.
And it's just not. And I think that's a disservice we give to people going through challenging times.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how much time do you need for this grieving phase?
Yeah.
And then from there, once you get the power, then you can start talking about all the other things you highlighted in a very eloquent way.
Right. Like you said, it's steps and phases.
Absolutely.
And you can't move through that until you actually handle that problem.
Absolutely.
Like growth and graduations.
Mm-hmm. That was my second tenet around the hero's journey, and like really being mindful of what phase of the evolutionary phase you're in. Because you can't jump from winter to summer. It's just not happening. It's just not happening.
And 12, like, I feel like that's an example of what we were going through earlier. You know, it's like Kalila and I, we weren't trying to offer words of comfort. We were just being here and just like feel through it the way that you need to. Like, we ain't got no advice to give you. We just here. So it was just like you got to practice that, like in that moment. Like, I'm feeling this way. I want to feel this way. I don't know how I want to feel. We're like, shit, we feel that, you know. You'll do it. So
For sure.
that.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that's another thing about feelings. It's like once we've encountered them, they no longer have a heavy resonance to them. We can be with the feeling and not feel overwhelmed by them. Because that's the last thing we want, is to be overwhelmed by it. And then that's where mastery comes into place. That's when you can see someone in the middle of a shitstorm and they just so unfazed by it, and it looks like a superpower. And it feels like a superpower too.
Okay.
When you can be in the midst of the storm. And I said that in that call. I said, when you throw someone in the deep end of the ocean, that's not when you teach them how to swim. You need these tools and these resources in your toolkit in advance.
Yes.
Right.
In advance. So what you just highlighted for Twill is like, yeah, because it's going to come up again. Unfortunately, this is not going to be the last go. It's just not. It's just not. And so how do you harness and cultivate and build these capabilities so that you can stand in your mastery and superpower essence? Yeah. It happens to all of us. Like, none of us can bypass any of this. But in community, it feels doable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely does.
It does. It's like at one part in this book, she's talking about how like holding space for people to cry, and then like I think she's talking about it though in the initiation chapter where I don't know if it's the man or the woman, I can't remember, but you know, you go to someone who's crying and then you comfort them, and then they, you know, it starts to move something inside of you, and then someone else comes to comfort you while you're comforting them, and then, you know, it's just a way for that sort of I don't know if it could be like cascading or that type of effect. Yes. It gives space for everyone to let go and release and also hold someone else. And then let go and release and hold someone else. And let go and release and hold someone else. And that's the blessing of community on like this sort of level, right? 'Cause you know, even like, you know, for me in this book, it's always like 3 levels for me, right? On the individual level, then your like immediate family, and then how you show up in your community as that too. So even allowing yourself to be with your own feelings and be comfortable enough to let that out, you know, and hold yourself is also like really important. So, you know, I also appreciate the reminder that Kendra was like, well, we finna dance, what we finna do? You know, how we finna move this energy, right? So it's like, yes, we felt it and it's here, but now, you know, we still have to continue. And because it is gonna be in waves, like, you know, it's not gonna be just like a one and done type situation. It's going to continue to happen, and to be able to stand in the midst of the shit storm and have that God-like essence, I feel like is the goal for everybody in this community, to have such a understanding and reverence for life that you move about it in that way, because that's when it feels like it, for me, that's when it feels like I am doing my job as a human being. It's when I'm operating in my God-like essence in every moment, in every area of my life. So one thing that I know I wanted to is this passage about conflict. Oh, before we go to conflict, continual renewal, right? Because last time we talked about how in every relationship there's a reason for the two spirits to come together, and there should be conversations that are had about if you feel like you're still on the same road together and if it's working, and to renew, as in to yes, or recommit to your individual goal and your goal in the relationship. Here it goes. It says there's a need to periodically cleanse our relationships with our partner. There's always something in the shelf that is either overcompensating, pretending, giving in, or pushing too hard. The only way one can reach that and move it out is through ritual. So then my question is like, what does renewal look like in your current relationships? Like, be it a ritual, be it like setting up a trip or going on a date, or what? Like, what does it look like in your immediate and intimate relationships? Or do you even do it? Do you feel it important to do that?
Well, I can say I can see the importance in it because it's always important to see, or just to do something that helps bring that passion, that refreshing energy, that reminder back into the compact that y'all have with one another. Simply because it's you know, you gotta renew and update and refresh everything, even whether it's your software, whether it's your surroundings, whether it's your relationship. Everything needs that touch up, just as a reminder that this is the importance of it, this is the strength of it. And it's like, no matter what it is, whether you gotta refurbish it, you gotta update just your phones, everything. Your relationship is no different. It's part of life. So as the same way nature goes through go through the winter and then everything is the fall and the seasons and the cycles, it only makes sense that your relationship does the same thing. It's just following the cycle of life. So you definitely see the importance of it, but with everyone, I can see how people also forget to do it as well with just the everyday cycle of life of, like, you know, with work, job, etc. You know, getting lost in that, but you know, and then you can see the flame in the relationship starting to dwindle a little bit. But as soon as you do that thing, that ritual, or some people renew their vows, have a wedding and everything all over again, or like you said, may go like on a vacation where they just do the same thing they used to do where when they first got together and things like that, and just sit and talk and just have quality time. I can definitely see the importance in it. I can't say that I do it or have done it, or that's something that I've put a lot of time into doing. But I can see how that can help strengthen a relationship totally.
But you got a lot of insight in it. Yeah. See, I spend a lot of time trying to make sure we in some type of order, but I didn't have that insight that you have. Yeah. So you just tied something together for me. Because I'm like, every week we try to follow our calendar, our rituals, and it gets crazy.
Yeah.
Like nothing happens to 100%.
Right.
But you just said in nature, there's order, but there's also a lot of chaos.
Exactly.
So what I just got from you is, all right, every week I need to just reset. It's all right, you know, chaos is gonna happen.
Yes.
So just reset, just like nature. That was good insight.
Indeed.
I received that.
So I can say with my family, and we've done it forever, Sundays are our days. Like, that's why we love the movie Soul Food, because Sundays at Big Mama house, that's where you're going to go. Sundays, when we went to South Carolina, we would do that at my grandmother's house. Everybody comes over. But even Sundays at my house now, like my sister will always come over. We'll play some kind of card game, me, my mom, my sister. You know, we incorporate Alexis now. We play Uno. And my dad, he's just always in the den, in his space, but still involved with what we're doing. And it's like we make sure to do it every Sunday. My mom, she could fry fish. We could do hamburgers. We could do Korean night. Like, we look forward to the theme that it's going to be the following week. It's just because we like to come together. And it's those moments that reset me for why I do what I do. Like, I can get mad at my parents because, you know, they just never learned financial freedom. But it's like, but then, hey, they had me who figured it out and set them financially free. How do you sit in that? Like, how do you be grateful for that instead of mad that they're not using their money well? So those moments help you just have compassion and forgive them and be grateful that, you know, they're the head of this household and you're able to see it on the different levels as such. Like, my sister is an overachiever. It literally passed down to me, is what I am now. So I'm so grateful for her, but I stopped looking for her validation because I had my own. Like, I was a part of building this foundation just like you. Thank you for teaching me, but I can hold my own just like you can too. Like, let's hold our family together and do this. And as y'all know, we live in my brother's house because he died. And he was the first person to have any ownership in our family. That's why we stay at that house. It's just to keep our traditions going. So I just want to share that.
I think for me, it's like having these like tough conversations. So like anytime like I'm feeling some type of way or anytime I'm experiencing something, a lot of times I just don't like to say anything. I just be like, okay, you know, I'm gonna sit in that, and then it comes out in another way, and it's usually like mean and like spiteful and vengeful. So for what I've learned to do is really kind of speak on those things that are bothering me, like having that open dialogue and open communication. And then once I've said those things, I'm like, you know, how can we move forward? What do you want to do? What kind of changes do you want to make? You know, and how am I meeting your needs? Am I not meeting your needs? What can I do to make it better? And then I think from there, actually working on those things that I said that I was going to do, actually following through and doing those things that I'm going to do, kind of create new habits and patterns and rituals. Just so that I'm like constantly growing and evolving and really considering those people in my life and how I can meet their needs and making sure I really am like really checking in with them and saying like, hey, you know, I know we're friends. Is there anything more that you need from me? Or even if I see, you know, you might need more from me or you might need support, like literally going to you and asking you like, what can I do for you? And then trying to do that.
Yeah, that's I think thank y'all for sharing all of those different ways.
I wanted to say something before you conclude it. One of the things that I picked up from the book was that renewal isn't a one and done, that it's constant. And so one of the things I picked up on when I first moved to Bali is that, yes, there's an anniversary of the wedding, but then there are continuous check-ins before you even get to the anniversary. It's like, hey, you still happy? You still want this? You still happy? You still want that? And it's constant so that you don't get these big blow-ups where someone is held on to like 10 years worth of information and they just not telling you about it. And that has happened several times with some of my Western friends. And I've shared this with my siblings. I had a best friend in high school. I mean, she brought stuff from high school to a conversation last year. And I just kind of was in awe that she held on to so much for so long. But what Kalila just said reminded me of that. It's like there was no space in her mind, in her opinion, to be releasing constantly. So it like built up inside of her to the point that when it did come out, it was spiteful and it was mean and blah, blah, blah. But that was a pattern that she's practiced for a really long time, to just hold on to stuff. And I don't know where I learned this from, but I've never had that as part of a practice for me, to hold on to stuff, because I know how damaging it can be. So that part about continual renewal really, really stood out for me. And that's something I know I want to put into place in my next intimate relationship, is that constant check-in. Like, you all right? How you doing? How you doing? What's going on over there? What you got going on? What you need help with? What I need help with? So that constant check-in, I realize how important it is. So letting that be the ritual. But then the ritual that I have for my own self-practice is to chant every morning. And I think I shared this last time I was here. I open all the windows and do a clear practice where I turn the water on the faucet and then my head horizontal and just let the water rush through my eyes. I do that every day. It doesn't matter where I am in the world, because that's the portal in which I was in the astral realm in. And so now that I'm coming earth side, I need that to be cleansed so that what I'm seeing is the actuality of my reality. So that is a practice that I know I maintain every day. And then in my phone, I have reminders of when to do my facials, when to do my blah, 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 blah. So those are just ways in which I've embodied rituals for myself.
Yeah, thank you. Like that, I'm so happy. I'm so happy for all the feedback. I'm so happy for the fact that spirit is in this, like, and this is also feeling like a renewal for me too, right? Because just to go like that reset is so important. I know in the book she's I think she said something like every 5 days a couple is doing it or something like that. I mean, but
Every 5 days.
To just this is what I wanted to read, because this is, I feel like, the perfect like summation of everything that we've said, and like how it realigns and like rejuvenates the spirit, and the reason for whatever individuals to be together, you know what I'm saying? Like the main cause for the interaction. Because whenever a couple renews their relationship, an alignment of spirit takes place. Special powers come of this alignment. Remember that this is not just about the spirits of the two people. We are talking about the spirits of the whole village or a whole tribe coming into alignment. The power that comes out of that is healing. So it's like to have that sort of renewal constantly, it's like a cleanse of the spirit, like always. And that is what heals like the trauma and the conditioning and these things that have us feeling like out of whack or out of balance. Is that renewing. And with that renewal, it's like first off, you put spirit first, creating this rituals. All of this is talking about coming from a place that is spirit led in the first place. So to reconnect with the spirit in yourself and your partner or your friend or your family or your community or whatever, it makes following the community guidelines that much easier. Right? It makes
renewal rituals.
Yeah. Because then it's like, we talk about learned habits or behaviors, and how easy it is to slip back into it. But when you have that continual renewal, it's like, even if you slip back into it, you're not in it as long as you would have been. So like the growth it feels more tangible.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's like this a regular checking of yourself.
Right.
And of your partner and of your family and of your community.
Right. It's like you start learning how to do it effortlessly. Like
Right.
You start showing up for self, which make you be able to show up for family.
Right.
And ultimately, you know, hey, I'm going to show up for the community too. It doesn't become like a daunting task or a choice like, oh, what I'm going to do. It's like, you know what you need to do.
Right.
So it's easier to show up when needed.
Mm-hmm. Does everybody feel complete on renewal? Yeah. Okay. So then the next chapter is conflict, and I really think the placement is like
Well, I'm
perfect.
sorry. Can we backtrack real quick?
Uh-huh.
Renewal rituals. Like maybe we can
Oh.
think about something that we can maybe practice the next couple weeks. I
Right.
really like this topic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take something home with this.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me put it in. Or can somebody put it in the Telegram? Coming up with rituals for renewal and what it would look like. I know for me, so for me, sometimes it looks like, mostly it looks like going on trips. When I would do my friend trips, normally like even like going to the beach, getting in the water, you know, it's and I think it's so beautiful to be able to see it in my life, like unconsciously, right? Most of the time I go out into the water with my friends. We'll hold hands and go under together the first time, or even if we're not holding hands, we'll just go under together and come back up together. And even that, she talks about a ritual where they use water to cleanse themselves. So that's one thing about beach trips that I absolutely love. First thing, I'm gonna get to the beach, I'm gonna get in the water at least once, you know, and that for me is like a way that I do that with my friends. And then just the type of conversations that we have, because we are in a different environment, it's easier to step out of everyday life and talk about topics in a more third person kind of way. It doesn't feel so personal when you're removed from your home type situation. So even that feeling of being in a different space and having whatever sort of new experiences or like cleansing experiences together, that's really cool. So like even when we go to Jeju, for me that's another way to be able to have those conversations, or to be in ritual, doing renewals with my friends, with my community.
One that I really like for daily practice is to have an altar. And I feel your altar, have your altar in your home or in your special place. In this place you just keep really beautiful. You beautify this space so that when you go, you know that you're entering into a sanctuary. And when you're entering a sanctuary, you go with reverence and honor and respect. So on the altar, something that symbolizes family, and then something that symbolizes all the elements. So water, I keep blood on my altar.
What does that represent?
Life force energy.
Okay.
So it's my menstrual blood. So each time I bleed, my last day I have to bleed.
I'm interested in that.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's my apologies.
What does it do? What does that do for you?
Like renewal of life force energy.
Okay.
Renewal of life force energy, because that comes every 4 weeks.
Okay.
So I'm a different woman every 4 weeks.
Okay.
I don't know what it could be for you. I can put you in touch with a friend who uses something different. Who's semen, but you know he can explain to you what that version does. Nature, so I have plants around. Fire, candle. So as soon as I get there, I'll light a candle.
Okay.
And then it's like I'm doing my chanting, I'm doing my prayers.
So you do all elements?
I do all the elements. Water, fire, minerals, crystals are a form of minerals. Life force energy, anything that has a sense of liveness to it, something that's present.
And what are you looking for in altar worship?
It's part of the renewal process of I'm in devotion to this experience, to this time of silence and stillness. It's
A way to
meditation,
connect to spirit.
A way to connect to spirit.
Being in the book, she also talks about with like married couples, they have a their own altar of things that are important to them, and they would place that on their altar, and you pull your strength from it. So like even now we have like our little altar right here. These are items that are special to us, and being in this space together, we're pouring a certain amount of energy into it. And so when we take it back and put it on our own altar, we're charging it with that energy that we have all put in together as a community in this time.
I know when I get my next lover, I'm going to ask that we do rituals every Friday and have flowers in a circle. And it talks about this.
An ash circle.
But I want to use flowers instead of ashes. So just to surround flowers and candles. So every Friday, it's almost like, all right, this week has ended. What was going on for you? What's going on for me? And it could be talked about and contained within this circle of flowers and candles. So that when we leave that circle, we're now different beings, a new level of ourselves.
Naya and I have like a weekly meeting.
Okay.
Right? But there's nothing like a ritual. Well, it is a ritual.
That is a ritual.
Right.
But
now you have an intention for the meeting, for the experience, and it's based on why spirit brought you together.
Right.
And it's also creating a container, right? So she talks about how like not feeling rushed into but this is the chapter about like having sex, period. But like always putting that intention and calling spirit in and taking the time to center yourself and connect yourself. So creating like what like Chaka is saying, the petal circle, or Sabonfu is saying like an ash circle. It is to create a container, a sacred space that is like purified in a way, so that whatever is happening inside can be like more representative and more like it feels more tangible that okay, I have gone to this sacred space with another person.
Some things to add on there. I know I added my ancestors to my altar, so I'm forever seeing grandma, grandpa, both sides to the family. My brother who passed away, my dog just passed away. Like you just always feel they're with you because you see them every day. Right. So it kind of makes you do your rituals every day because you want to give thanks. Like a memory I hit about grandma, making the sandwiches she made. So like, grandma, things is good, girl. Right. Miss you. You'll just start to embody it more and be more purposeful and intentional when doing your rituals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's to also be like you're more in communion with spirit, right? Mm-hmm. So when we're talking about going and operating in that God-like space, because you have been like in it, you know what I'm saying, and calling them into you and being in their presence, then like that feeling you get and you can keep it. So like when you operate in that world, that feeling, you know what I'm saying, of oneness, of connectivity. And that's like also your check, right? Am I feeling like how I be feeling in my sacred space? Am I operating like I would be operating in my sacred space? Yeah. Am I moving the way that I would be moving as if I was in my sacred space?
I like how in the book she kind of like really lets you know like these rituals, they really can be for celebration, getting to know yourself and things like that. But they can also be to like clear the air, like when you are in the midst of conflict, like this space is a space that you can go to and be very, very honest, but know that like everything that you're saying and all of the things that you need to receive really are coming from a place of love.
Right.
The way the book is written is as though everyone you're encountering is automatically on board. I don't never felt as though she
I agree with
touched
that. I felt
upon.
the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like she never
Mhm.
touched upon
Yeah.
someone who may not be on the same frequency.
Right.
But she did.
But she does. So what I feel like
And
she
I say
does
that
is,
because my ex-husband didn't want to have anything to do with none of what we talking about. He didn't want to do therapy. He didn't want to talk about like none of this.
yes.
So
So
they just
what
made
she's
it
talking
feel
about
invalid.
too is she says that there is gonna be difficulties in seeing people move this way like you would in the West. And even when cities become modernized or civilized or socialized, then these things don't exist there.
anymore. Mhm.
So the reason why I am like to the book is because this is what feels most natural and untainted. Like a more spiritual way of being and what I want to embody in my life and in my community. You know what I'm saying? So like, even if that's not a way that they are moving in at their current time, if you're not open to being this way or even understanding this way, then we're not equally yoked. And there's no way that you can be a part of my community that I'm creating because this is how we moving.
Right. Or when she
Or-
was referencing the connection that you have with your spouse, like when one of your spouse may go out into the market and experience lust and then come back, you automatically feel something had happened, and he's brought those lustful desires into the community, because that's already your sister. If it's a man or a woman, that's already your brother. You're not looking at them in a sexual way,
Yeah.
but going to that market and coming back with lust, something happened. So you done brought back those spirits. Those spirits aren't of your community, so you know how to either
Right.
cast them out, acknowledge them, or address them, rather than that's how they get lost when staying outside of that community.
Mhm.
You don't have anything to battle those desires, so they become stronger.
Yeah. I could agree there.
So, equally yoked is basically the basis of it all.
Right.
Okay, so if this person is
Or
not
if-
even on your wavelength, they're not thinking, they're not.
If
trying to
y'all
be like
not
y'all,
traveling the same
Same.
road,
Yeah.
then y'all ain't even supposed to.
then y'all ain't even
Yeah.
supposed to interact in that kind of way. And
Right.
then that is the how you know, or could also be a way of letting you know who you would be in a specific type of relationship with. Because from this point of view, she is talking about meeting each individual as just my brother or my sister. You know what I'm saying? And the reason to do something more than being brother and sister is something that has to be led from spirit. And then that's the difference between romance and these lustful desires and two people coming together with purpose because spirit has intended them to. Even if it's something that it is developed naturally or it just kind of happens, there's a reason for it. And it's easier to tell when you cut out that aspect of romance and well, I wouldn't say not cut it out, but like when you're leading from a spirit place.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Why was we here? We was talking about conflict.
We hadn't made it to
We
conflict.
back.
We backtracked. Okay. I'm like, now I'm confused. Oh yes, because you did. Okay, I remember now. You asked if we could backtrack. So now do that fit? Oh, go ahead.
Oh no! Did anybody drop that in the Telegram?
Oh,
Okay.
I'm starting it, girl. What was the point? You was making out
We just wanted to
the rituals.
yeah.
Yes, rituals for
Develop rituals. Coming up
renewal.
with rituals
That was
for
the
renewal,
way.
y'all.
Oh,
That's
we
what it is.
went way back.
Yeah.
And then Chalk got to daily, because for me,
Okay,
the,
daily
the renewal
renewal.
rituals
Okay.
is big because we finding a lot of roadblocks in our current path,
Okay.
and it's because I found it hard to renew my rituals on the weekly because I'm always feeling like, why the heck is it even going out of balance every week? Why am I not following my calendar? But a lot of this. So I know one thing I do is I hike to get my renewal back, just to get that energy back. Every time I hike, I'm back. But I like that daily renewals, the daily renewals is
Mm-hmm.
really what I'm like, I need to hone in on that.
Oh, and then Shantae said that her and Bunkin was talking about 4 times a year going to a body of water for a refreshing. And I think that's really cool too. I've got a friend, he does a fast on every equinox, every
Change the season.
every change of the season he'll fast.
Yeah.
It is really cool. And I
Seasonal fast.
yeah.
That's dope.
Well, you and Boo have a ritual every February. You all don't.
Every February we do. Well, it hasn't been every. We have done it a lot of Februaries. I want to say I've probably done it like 3 Februaries.
I done last fall.
You done the last 5? Yeah, I probably done like maybe like 3 or 4. But where we just don't smoke, don't drink, don't eat no
Oh,
meat.
you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
As a way to give my body a break. And
Today's equinox.
yesterday,
Yes, sir. I just did an Equinox fast.
Yeah.
I told you.
Yeah.
Word.
right?
Crazy.
Yeah, but like that, like, cause to this, and then also too, right? This feels like a village, a community that is on the same frequency as the planet, as the Earth, even the moon. You know what I'm saying? Every 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a whole
Yeah, there's a new moon or a full moon.
new moon, full moon. It's a cycle, right? It's a renewal. So just being more in on more aligned, more aligned with everything. And like you feel it on like a universal level. Like you feel it on all the levels. So do everybody feel complete now about that? Okay, see, look, and then the next time we only got 30 minutes left.
Are we leaving at 3?
Yeah, we're leaving at 3.
It's 2:34.
Mm-hmm.
That's my time. 2:34. He
Okay.
said he had to go find another spot because something happened with he said the spot we were gonna use is closed today, so we gotta use another spot. Yeah, I think we're gonna use Piedmont still, but it's just gonna be like a different area. I don't know. So he working that out. He's working that out.
So now we can go to conflict. I'm gonna read the first 2 parts, maybe the first 3 parts about it. It says conflict grows out of challenges that are presented by spirit. It is a gift meant to help us move forward. It is through conflict that we gain knowledge of ourselves and learn new situations for using our own gifts. Conflict is a wake-up call sent by spirit to remind us of the purpose we are here to fulfill. In an indigenous context, it is seen as a blessing. It should not be nurtured. It should be listened to, and proper steps should be taken to address the spirit behind the conflict. 2 humans together are always prone and vulnerable to some form of conflict or other. Without conflict, everything is going to look pretty boring. But dwelling in conflict will make everything pretty sour. So there is a need for a constant balancing, and the ingredient for that balancing is ritual. Ritual acknowledges that the relationship of 2 people is an energy higher than the 2 of them simply added together. It is something so big that their intellect and their own dexterity cannot handle crises that arise without the intervention of something ritualistically grounding.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Because when you hear that 2 people coming together, you know you're gonna have conflict. Usually, when you hear 2 people coming together, you know there's God's in the presence. So, for them to put 2 people together and not say God is in the presence, but that conflict is gonna arise. That kind of shows you that even God resides even in conflict, and that He's just not all good like they just trying to make it sound as it be. Because in order to even grow, you're gonna have to have a situation or opportunity to express the presence of God. That's why sometimes those are the most trying times, because greatness just doesn't come without something opposing it. So, yeah, like they say, pressure creates diamonds. Well, it can bust pipes. So, it can go one way or the other. So, that's interesting hearing the book put it like that. Did I catch you mid-chew? But, yeah, I think that's pretty...
Or it's like you can look at it like Captain Planet-ish. You know, how as our powers combine, as they call it, all the elements, right? It created something that was bigger, you know, than all of them. But he was all of them. So, you know, coming together, you know, that energy surrounding you guys is greater than the two of you individually. So it's like you're able to battle in the spirit. You're able to overcome in the spirit because it's already bigger than you anyway. Y'all came together to encompass this energy, so now it's covering the both of you.
Yeah, I like how in the book she talks about a ritual in order to deal with conflict, right? Because it's definitely something that's bigger than the two of you. They talk about, you know, it not just only being your own ancestors when you're with somebody else, but then their ancestors and their families and their communities and their, you know, like it's everything that's coming together with these two different people. So when the conflict does arise, it's not just for the two individuals that are involved either, right? And I think that is what makes like the ritual part of it, or creating a ritual makes it feel more real and sort of kind of easier to deal with, right? Because if I'm like, okay, I'm having this interaction not just for my own benefit, because I'm sick of arguing with you about this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sick of it being a problem. You know what I'm saying? Clearly, the reason why this conflict is there is because it's for somebody. It's for something that's bigger. So just being able to put a ritual to it in order for it to feel easy to move through, I think is important. Because she talks about going into the ash circle and being like back to back with the partner or whoever you beefing with and calling out all the shit that you fucking pissed about. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then in this way, taking this conflict to this sacred space is also a way of giving it to the ancestors, the bigger energy that's involved. Because it's like, I don't know what the fuck to do with this. You know what I'm saying? And so to be able to take it to that ritual space and both y'all being like, I don't know what the fuck to do with this.
I'm going to just leave it right here. It's right here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I done said my piece. But it gives, I think, that place to get it off of you.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think a lot of times to go back to like trying to skip that human part of you that's in conflict, right? It's like, I just want to get to the place where we're not upset or we not beefing or it's not an issue anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like, we still got to go back and deal with this.
You don't know what just because you're saying, okay, I forget you, forget it.
Right.
It's
but even like going to that space or thinking of how to make a ritual to deal with conflict is, I think, important. Right along with the continual renewal. Right? I don't know. Does anybody have anything or what that? I know for me, it just look like. So maybe like dinner or something
Mm-hmm.
and being like, or just carving out some time to be like, look, I need to have a conversation with you
Yep.
about a couple things.
But there's this premise that, at least when you just highlighted it, that both parties want to participate.
Say that again.
Just about like both people wanting to stay at that point of, let me have a conversation with you. Because you just mentioned how, look, I gotta get some stuff off my mind, I gotta get some stuff off my chest. But it's like that other person doesn't want to participate. But then you're still left stuck with the feeling, not releasing.
Well, also that the fact that the community is also involved in the relationship as well, I
That's
think
different.
helps out tremendously because it's
That's
not just between just two people.
Totally.
Because it's like even before those two people came together, the elders even came
Brought them
together
together.
to bring them together.
Totally.
And if they don't work, the elders is willing to take their own lives simply because they know they're gonna try everything in their power to keep those two together because it serves the community all the way around.
Totally.
And so even before it gets to the point to where you have to be like, we need to talk, they should have had the opportunity to talk with their fellow
elders.
men
Yeah.
folks.
Totally.
And she should have been able to get some energy off her chest by talking with her women folks.
Yeah.
And even the elders and people around them, so just to balance their energy, so
agree.
they still have some level of release.
I agree. That's definitely not in this day and age. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Or even to ask, like you mentioned being equally yoked.
Mm.
So it shouldn't even be an aspect of that partner not being willing. They
I
may
agree.
not be ready. You know, some people be like, I just need a moment to deal with it.
Yeah.
But the people you surround yourself with, are going to be willing parties to go there with you
For sure.
and talk to you on that level.
For sure. And if not, then you're not equally yoked.
Okay.
Shantae wants to call in.
I know I just seen that. How can I call the? Can you
Can't
call
Why
it?
don't you
Call
just
on
call
Telegram?
somebody and just put it on speakerphone?
Okay.
I'm looking
Just
at
call.
the chat from YouTube. I thought they was gonna be hitting us on there, but they watching it and chatting on.
Okay, I'm gonna call you, Shantae.
Oh, we live?
Yeah.
I got it.
Oh, we on Messenger too, huh?
It's active too, 'cause I know I called.
Well, they're not on
Oh, you do?
Messenger.
Yeah, last time I
Some
was
people
here, I
don't
called
listen.
in on YouTube and
Hello?
Where is it? Oh, right here? Is that it?
Hey, boo. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even know you called me.
We on TV.
Yeah, I ain't get to go.
Hey, girl. Shantae on the phone, y'all.
What's
Hey,
up,
Shantae.
So, but we wanted to kind of contribute to what we were talking about right now.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to put it on speaker.
You already on speaker.
Oh, okay.
I should have told you. My bad.
So, what we were sitting here and discussing, and we wanted to contribute to it, was that we are dealing with an issue of a lie that I presented in the relationship. And it wasn't on purpose, but it was because of my inexperience of a solid relationship with the spirit of the body of someone else being in the same spirit or wanting to be in the same spirit. And so acknowledging the fact that the other person is going to be uncomfortable with the truth that you give them after they've asked for it, you to be able to sit in the space of knowing that this person is going to take a minute to be able to resolve the truth that you gave because you already initially lied about it instead of giving them the truth when they asked in the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
So then I had to reflect on the fact that it needed to be a conversation. I apologize, acknowledging that me going into the defense of that person asking me something, I don't have that right because I was already lying. So it's already a situation I presented for the relationship. And so in acknowledging my fault in it, then it resolved to me to say, okay, I apologize that I even put you in a space of uncomfortability because the lie could have been avoided had it been presented in the beginning when it was asked. But because of the life that I live, it was more easy for me to lie instead of giving the truth because I didn't know the reaction I was going to receive.
Oh, Shantae, thank you for sharing that. That's so real.
Man, that's real right
That's
there.
so real. That's so real. That's so real. But can you
I didn't put in the message, so that's why I called.
can you turn that? I can hear myself in the background. It sounds crazy.
Is that better?
Yeah. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
not much, man.
That's so much better. It just sounded so crazy every time I started talking. But I do really appreciate you.
But yeah.
That is so real and so honest, because even, you know what I'm saying, even now you're at a different level of awareness than you were then too, right?
Right. Yeah.
So like that's big. Like, and that's a real life application.
Yeah, because when I gave you the one in regards to the body of water, because him and I are the water signs, and we brought the new year in at the beach, we already started a wash together without starting it together, because we went there for our own individual reasons to bring in the year. But in the same factor, we were there at the body of water that brought us together for everything to combine, to come together. And so now that we're in this space and then dealing with this awkward situation, the truth is so much freeing that you don't even know it's freeing you, because you're conflicted with what you feel is your safe space. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so a lot of what we're doing in the community is coming back into the relationship for us. And then also we're making sure we're giving it to the community, because we've got to be that transparent with each other, because it will allow for the trust of everyone else to be able to say their truth and to be comfortable with the community receiving it, and even helping wherever they feel they can combine a loving advice or a loving reaction or a loving way to move through it.
Yep. And that's exactly what this whole thing is about, right? Because I remember, I think it was the meeting before last, when I'm like, okay, so when do we start to really like do this? When is it the real?
Right.
And this is the real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
I think it's going to trickle in, because each individual person within the community is going to have a situation or a dynamic or something that's going to be needed support from the community. And knowing that trust level is there for everyone to receive the information and not just interject or feed on it, but to be there to give the support they need to move through it.
Thank you, Shantae. I love you, girl.
No problem. I just wanted to call it in, but we'll be there back as soon as we can. I'm sorry, guys. I just, I work on Sundays, so I don't have any control over
schedule. I know. And but I really do love and appreciate that you, even though you're not here, you still be here when you're not here.
We gotta be present as a community.
Yes.
We can't be in the physical.
Right. And you was definitely heavy on my mind on that part of the libations, when we call in people who would know that, you know what I'm saying, they would be here if they could. Be here. You know what I'm saying? And you have made it very clear that this community is important to you, because you show up every time. And I appreciate that. And you come and you transparent and you real. And that's what we need.
And I think it will allow for some of the people who came at the original and haven't been here, that are online but are very silent. We want them to understand that each of us are going through our own individual thing, but as a community, each one of us can give them some type of insight that we may have already experienced or maybe going through at the same time. So
yeah, I appreciate you, love.
Yes, so y'all continue. I'm gonna hang up and we're gonna stay on.
Okay, cool. All right. Dang, that was good. Yes.
I like her openness and her willingness to share. Again, those vulnerable parts, those like parts that really show like
we don't all have it together, and we really is working on it like real works in progress.
Right. Everybody is a work in progress all the time.
Yeah, even these politicians and these people we got, they all regular people too. So I think it's so crazy we be giving them so much power because everybody really in it at the same level. And it's like, yeah, nobody's better than one another. You may have some information or some knowledge, but that's still the same thing. It's energy, waves, and that all should come from love. So
I like that she talked about white lies because it resonated because I struggle with those. Like nobody's business, you know. I was always thinking, well, I'm not lying to hurt you. I'm not lying to hurt you. It's just I don't like the after effects that I'm gonna get after telling you this truth, or allowing your truth to sit with someone, because you don't know how people are gonna deal with truths about you, and sometimes it feels more like a punishment than it does feel to be freeing. So it's like with her saying that, it just reminded me when I used to tell the white lies, but it was just because of the receiver, how it was always received. So I was thinking it was a problem with me, but it was just a problem with our communication or with the person who I decided to try to be in an intimate space with. So I did realize if you just go tell the truth, there's always going to be consequences regardless. It just is. The truth, they'll get over it a lot quicker. And if it's a lie, when they realize it was a lie, you kind of go through a little bit more repercussions, and then it puts a place there for they don't trust you. And recovering people's trust is like the hardest thing to ever do. But if you can be open with your truth right there and it ain't a lie, they just start to know you. You just have to respect your character. So, yeah.
It's this. Oh, go ahead.
Right before Shantae called in, I was thinking in my head, like, you gotta really, like, break down that ego to just let that information out. Like, that's a huge deal. But the community guidelines, I was like, okay, I thought of an idea. Maybe that's a community guideline, because I think part of my issue is presenting truth with grace. Like, to be able to avoid those white lies by presenting my truth with grace instead of fear, and kind of, when you present truth in fear, you throw it out there. And it's aggressive. Right. So I just wrote that down. That's going to be part of my community guidelines. I'm going to present truth with grace versus just being fearful of it and attacking. Right?
So I want to read these two sections real quick. We got like 6 more minutes left. But just to sum up, the first thing was our fear of being exposed in a culture where everybody else is wearing a mask can be a major obstacle to our reaching out for help. This is why it's so crucial to have a trusted circle of people who can give you that sense of belonging and of community. You know what I'm saying? So then that was the first thing. But then also too, because sometimes, it's difficult. Like I'm happy that Shantae and Bunkin can like kind of talk about it and work it out. But then in this other section, it says that in a village, people are encouraged to deal with conflict instead of running away from it. If they are not able to deal with it, it must be open to the community. So let's say, for instance, that something is really bothering a woman in the village, but she is unable to speak to her husband about it. She can let her woman's circle know, this is what's aching me. Then the woman might speak to her husband. If he doesn't respond, all the family members, both the woman's and the man's, will be called together. If no solution is found, then the whole village will be alerted. By then, you know that it's really late. Things have gotten pretty bad. It's no longer a couple problem. It's a village problem. The couple needs to stand back and let the village deal with it. This process with the whole community trying to help makes it impossible for the husband to come back with serious anger at his wife for telling everyone that things aren't working. And reaching out to a larger community for a solution makes it impossible for the problem to continue. So then, this is the last little bit. I must point out here that there is a difference between making a relationship problem public in order to find a solution for it and making it public without wanting any kind of help. Sometimes we become accustomed to our problems and want to nourish them and not let them go. We give them room to grow, and we do not want them to get out of our life. They become a burden to those who hear about them, not knowing how to respond. This is a modern way of getting attention. Sometimes the best medicine for people seeking this kind of attention is to not give them any energy.
Yep.
And so that just lets me, like, puts me in a place where I'm like, okay, when it comes to conflict, for them to consider it a gift. You know what I'm saying? A gift to grow through. You know what I'm saying? And having that trusted group of people, that community, like, it would be these people in this room. You know what I'm saying? Would be that first step. Like, look, I'm struggling with this. You know what I'm saying? I'm really upset about what's going on here, and I don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? I like being willing to, again, drop that mask and be like, this is where I'm at with it. You know what I'm saying? Putting it up, leaving, and that's, I know sometimes the issues that I have with Christianity is that they be like, just leave it to God. You know what I'm saying? But like, without wanting to take like any accountability for it. It's different to be like, I am struggling with this and I don't know what to do. Instead of being like, this is the problem, I'm gonna just let God deal with it.
Right. Yeah.
I'm this way and he that way, and that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Like that, there's a difference between I'm having this issue, this is the problem that I'm having, and now I don't know how to move forward. Like, and then to even want to move forward, right?
Yeah.
And
do you think we've been like conditioned? Because listening to this, it resonates, because it's like, yes, this is the way that we have to be. But then knowing how you grew up with the mother being on the phone for 2 or 3 hours, you know, talking to auntie or her sister or her best friend about the conflict that's happening in the family.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see it being resolved, but you definitely hear it being talked about. So it's like it gave us an example of staying and working it out no matter what it looks like, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no new application was even learned on how to get through those things. You just continuously heard the same conflict over and over, just in a different way.
Right.
You know, this may have been thrown this time, or this may have been punched this time, or they may lied this time, or they may took this time, or they come home at 2 o'clock. Same thing, just it's like same chaos. But it's just like listening to this and seeing how, you know, we have an intention to deal with this conflict because we know it comes. Like being aware and understanding what conflict is gives us a better ability to deal with it, because we know, hey, this is coming, but it can't stay.
Right.
Regards to how we grew up, that this is here and it has stayed.
That's real.
And then I also think too, right, because this has been something that I struggle with my whole life, like being in the middle of 2 different cultures, right? Because, right, you know what I'm saying? It's like to feel this African spiritually and be operating in this Western world, it's like, how do you know what I'm saying, when, or like with who to give this sort of energy to, or like those kind of things. But like being able to mesh the two, right? Of this African aspect of being in, like what you said, listening to your mama talking on the phone with this homegirl and that homegirl about the situation, and it just continuously be the same conversation. You know, like, yeah, we gonna be on the phone with our homegirls, but then it's like, how are you talking about the conflict?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, are you actually looking for solutions?
Right.
Or is it just, you know, I just need something to talk about. This is the latest drama.
Yes, that exactly.
And it is 3 o'clock.
And it's 3:01.
Thank you, timekeeper.
So, y'all feel complete about this right here?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. That's it. And then that's it. And I guess we still on.
So we did two. We covered two categories. Then
Yeah, we didn't do.
We're gonna do what? Divorce and homosexuality.
We're gonna
Last
do,
one.
we're not doing a new book for next month.
Well, yeah, we can. We just.
We haven't decided on another book
I
yet.
know we did. 'Cause I got my book. I'm ready.
What's your
You
book?
got that ain't nobody decided on but you.
No, we talked about this one engineering.
Yes,
Sounds
actually,
good.
this has
Oh,
been.
boom. So wait a
I
minute, we
do
got
remember
3.
that.
We talked.
I
about
have.
this.
It wasn't.
I didn't know we
feel like
agreed on it.
I don't think
That's
we
what
agreed
stuff
on
out
it.
there.
Yeah.
I
So-
was like, okay.
Look, I just
Just
got
don't
my
remember.
book. I'm ready.
Originally,
Originally,
no, we
Yeah.
haven't,
We put it
but
as one of the options.
we put it as one of the options. When
Right.
I initially
Right.
like organized the book club, I did want that to be the next book. And when I
Next
first
book
had
it
the
is.
idea, I didn't want to open it up to the community, but I mean, so that we can decide together. But I really do feel like inner
You know
engineering.
what I'm saying?
That's my third time reading it, man.
It's because now it's talking about that book will be us putting a microscope on ourselves, right? To really see now, after we put the microscope on ourselves, we got a grand idea of what we're working for, what we're going towards with the spirit of intimacy, how we want to be in community. Now it's to put the microscope on ourselves. How are we or are we not like in alignment with what we want, and how can we engineer ourselves into being that?
Okay.
Which is why that I was like, that one can be the second book. When I already did the rough outline in my mind.
I like it.
But yeah, so I don't know.
So then, if that's the next book, so then are we going to do it like this again, where we spend a month reading it before we have our first discussion, or are we just gonna go through it chapter by chapter, and like, I mean, not chapter by chapter, but kind of how this was set up, how we did like so many chapters at a time, and then the discussion? Because I'm like, a whole month before the next meeting just kind of feels like a long time.
It does. And
And then I also feel like, kind of like with this book, I felt like I wanted to like jump ahead, because we would be talking about this, but then it ties into like this chapter 3 chapters on, and I'm like, oh, but in the book it mentioned this, and it's really tying in right here, but we haven't even gotten there.
I don't know.
Is she? And I think the author said that like she kind of scrambled a little bit.
Yeah, she did say that in the book, that it's more of a conversation that you like piece together, and you know.
I noticed that same thing.
Yeah, it is like that. It's like that. I haven't read Inner Engineering though. Is that a more linear book?
It's definitely personalized. Like it's when you say linear, what do you mean?
I mean, like the progression in the actual
for
book.
Sure. Yeah.
It's
And
very.
you can still read it individual. Way I like to read. When you go to the table of contents and you choose what speaks to you, you can read it in that way too.
Okay.
Because I find myself doing that. So yes, it can be both linear and customized based on what is currently in play in your life. Because in section 2, it's mind, body, energy, and spirit.
Mind, body, energy.
Mind, body, energy.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Mind, body, energy in part 2. And then in the beginning,
That's like foundation, understanding, awareness.
because I've been jumping around. Yeah, part 2 is body, mind, energy, and joy.
Right.
And then in part 1, it's when I lost my sense, the way out is in, design your destiny, no boundary, no burden, and now is yoga.
So how many chapters is it?
So 2 parts, part 1, part 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are in part 1, and 4 are in part 2.
So
Part 2 is like the practices and the exercise.
That's
gives you
cool.
it's dope.
I think is there an audio book? I think there's an audio book.
There is an audio book.
There is an audio book.
I
But
just
he's
found
not the narrator.
Okay.
Unless it's on Audible. I think if it's Audible, he is the narrator.
Yeah,
I may
he's
have
a narrator.
found
On Audible?
Yeah.
But they go to YouTube. They don't have Audible.
Get out.
Free.
Yeah.
I sent them the link, but they just like YouTube.
Get out. He's. I think him narrating it is a lot better.
You think?
Yeah,
I agree.
I'm sure.
I agree.
Okay, y'all. We out.
We out.
We out.
DG. Wrap us up.
Get you.